Read, read in the name of thy Lord. The very first words of Quran ask people to read, and read they did, all branches of knowledge. They produced the finest of scientists, doctors, and mathematicians. Students from across the Muslim world and beyond traveled to these schools or madrasas of the early years of Islam. Most of the madrasas today no longer impart such knowledge. They have narrowed their focus to religious studies only. Some madrasas have the limelight focused on them, but for all the wrong reasons. They have been described as hotbeds of militancy. In a world made insecure by global terrorism, the image of these religious schools has a question mark looming over it. The number of madrasas in Pakistan has gone past the 12,000 mark and is still increasing. A large number of them mushroomed in the past 3 decades. The peak in their number coincided with the Afghan jihad against the Soviet Union, supported by Pakistan's General Ziaul Haq, sponsored by the Americans. The Soviets have long gone from Afghanistan, but the madrasa mushrooming continues.
Madrasa's emergence and their activities are not just an unplanned thing. It was part and parcel of a very well thought. Mid of 70s, Pakistani educational institutions were of such a high caliber and standard that forces against the development of Pakistan or Pakistan emerging as a economically powerful country conceived of the idea of destroy our educational institutions.
नहीं, हमारा एजेंडा ये है कि कुरान और हदीस की तालीम जो है मुसलमानों की औलादों को सिखाई जाए ताकि मुसलमान दीन पर चल सकें। आज आप जो मुसलमान हैं, दीनदार हैं, ये मदारिस ही की बरकत है कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वहाँ लोग दीन सीखते हैं, फिर मस्जिदों में इमाम बनते हैं, मस्जिदों में लोगों की इस्लाही बातें करते हैं। ये मदारिस तो एक हमारी ज़रूरत है।
One estimate says nearly 2 million children are taught in these seminaries. Not just taught, but they're even fed and clothed. And all of this is done for a handful of money or even free. This is the biggest motivation for poor people to send their children here. One such seminary in Karachi claims it spends around 3 million rupees every month. This raises many questions as to who finances these madrasas and why.
The vast majority of the madrasas belong to the Saudi financed organizations and NGOs and mosques, or if not Saudi, then UAE, if not UAE, then Kuwaiti, if not Kuwaiti, then some other Arab.
आप मेरे पास आकर बैठ जाएं और मैं आपको दावत देता हूँ। मुसलमानों, हज़ारों लाखों मुसलमानों जिनमें मजहबी जज्बा है, और अगर आप में भी नहीं मजहबी जज्बा, लेकिन ज़कात तो आप पर फ़र्ज़ है, तो लोग हमें ज़कात देते हैं और हम उसको मुसलमानों, गरीब, यतीम बच्चों पर खर्च करते हैं। आप ये सवाल क्यों नहीं करते कि दुनिया की NGOs चल रही हैं, उनके पास पैसा कहाँ से आता है?
For the clerics, all of this is done to spread the holy message. But the message coming out of Islamabad's Jamia Hafsa and the Lal Masjid is certainly not holy. The baton-wielding girls and heavily armed boys of the seminary have only made things worse for madrasa students across the country. Their self-appointed anti-vice squads have been condemned by most religious scholars. Islamabad's Jamia Hafsa standoff is the latest in the chain of events that have made the anti-madrasa case strong across the world. The attacks of 9/11 and London's 7/7 bombings had also been linked to the madrasas.
देखिए, मदारिस पर इल्ज़ामात जो अब तक लगे हैं, हुकूमत कोई भी हुकूमत साबित नहीं कर सकी कि मदारिस के तलबा इस चीज़ों में मुलव्वस हुए हैं, दहशतगर्दी में, तंजीम में, किसी चीज़ के अंदर अब तक साबित नहीं कर सकी। ये पहला वाक़या है जो गाज़ी बिरादरान ने किया है कि मदरसे को इस्तेमाल किया, तालिबा और तालिबात को इस्तेमाल किया इस काम के लिए कि वो जो है हुकूमत के ख़िलाफ़ करें इसकी हम बहुत ही मजम्मत करते हैं और उनका ये अमल गलत था।
The unchecked expansion of madrasas is closely linked to the inconsistent policies of the government, be it the Islamization of General Ziaul Haq or the enlightened moderation of General Pervez Musharraf, or the race of power between the two democratically elected governments. No one has paid attention to what was happening within the madrasas.
The government's own 5-year madrasa reform plan, launched in 2003, seems like a virtual failure. Its major goal is to get all the madrasas registered and modernize the curriculum. Some ministers are the strong supporters of madrasas as the largest social welfare network. This, they say, is in keeping with Islamic teaching.
आप यहाँ पर तदरीस और दर्स देते हैं या यहाँ पर तालीम देते हैं, ये इस्लाम की खिदमत है, इस मुल्क की खिदमत है और इंशाअल्लाह ताला इसमें हुकूमत और आपके दरमियान कोई इख्तिलाफात कभी नहीं आएंगे। हम आपकी मदद करेंगे, हम आपको सहारा देंगे, हम आपके साथ होंगे।
In the balancing game of keeping the religious leaders and the West happy, the government has perhaps forgotten to prioritize its primary education reforms in its mainstream schools, a perfect alternative to madrasas. But they too are in shambles. There are thousands of schools in the rural parts of Pakistan that do not function at all, leaving a window of opportunity for the madrasas to step in. Aftab Borka, Dawn News.